so it's just Anton.
Okay. All right, let me call the local planning agency meeting to order, March 1st, 2016, 6 p.m. I'm going to ask the clerk for a roll call vote.
Mayor Weissman.
Here.
Vice Mayor Shelley. Commissioner Cohen.
Here.
Commissioner Holtzberg.
Here.
Commissioner Landman.
Here.
Commissioner Narodsky.
Here.
Commissioner Weinberg.
Here.
Mr. Soroka.
Here.
Mr. Wolpin. Here. You have a quorum.
Okay, let me ask Anton Weinberg to please come to the microphone and lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. And Adam and Ariel Weinberg, please come up.
I am recognizing. What are we supposed to do?
Go right ahead.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Great job.
Mayor, can I just say, we've had some interesting Pledge of Allegiances here. That was a nice rendition from some Dade County Public School System students.
Absolutely, every word correct. Let's give them a hand. As I said, this portion of our meeting, this is a separate meeting from our regular commission meeting. It's a local planning agency meeting, and I'm going to ask that a motion be made to approve the minutes of July 7th, 2015.
Motion.
Motion made by Commissioner Holtzberg.
Second.
Seconded by Vice Mayor Shelley. Can I call for the vote? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Unanimous. We are now going into a public hearing. The motion recommending the adoption of the following ordinance, and I'm going to ask our city attorney, Mr. David Walpin, to please read the ordinance.
Thank you, Mayor. An ordinance of the City of Aventura, Florida, amending Article 8, Section 31-171, off-street parking, loading, and driveway standards of Chapter 31, Land Development Regulations of the City Code by amending Section 31-171A6D to add minimum widths for one-way and two-way drive aisles, providing for severability, providing for inclusion in the code, and providing for an effective date. Whatever input is received from the public on this item, Mayor, and the staff report will both be incorporated into the record of the regular city commission that follows later this evening. Thank you.
May I please have a motion recommending adoption of the ordinance on first reading? Vice Mayor Shelley?
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Landman. I'm going to recognize from our city staff, Joanne Carr, to please present the staff report.
Thank you, Mayor. Staff requests that the local planning agency recommend approval of this application to the City Commission. The request is an amendment to Section 31-171A6D of the Land Development Regulations to add minimum widths for one-way and two-way access aisles and driveways. The applicant, Granite Aventura LLC, is requesting that the Land Development Regulations be amended to allow a minimum width of 20 feet for two-way drive aisles where there is no parking on either side of the drive aisle. The applicant's request results from its administrative site plan application, which proposes an internal 20-foot wide two-way drive aisle connecting the lobby and garage entry. The city code currently states that drive aisles that are less than 24 feet wide are to be one-way only. The code does not differentiate between the required width of a two-way drive aisle with adjacent parking or a two-way drive aisle without adjacent parking, only that any drive aisle less than 24 feet is to be one-way. The city's traffic engineering consultant and civil engineering consultant have both advised they have no objection to the proposed amendment for the 20-foot wide two-way drive aisle. The engineer has prepared a sketch showing the distance between vehicles passing on both widths, one on the 24-foot wide two-way drive aisle and one on the 20-foot, and I'll put that up for you to see. And you can see it on the 24-foot wide, there is 8 feet. 8 feet between the cars and 7 feet between the SUVs and trucks. And when we go down to 20 feet, there's still 4 feet between the cars and 3 feet between the SUVs. And that's in response to some concerns that that might be not be wide enough at our workshop meeting, that there might be not enough room for the 2 cars or the 2 trucks. In addition to the applicant's request, the city's engineering consultant has also recommended that 3 other drive aisle widths be included in that section 31-171A6D of the land development regulations. And what the city's engineering consultant have recommended is that we add a minimum 14-foot width for a one-way drive aisle where there's no parking on either side, a minimum 12-foot width for a one-way drive aisle next to parallel parking spaces, and a minimum 20-foot width for a two-way drive aisle next to parallel parking spaces. Those specific drive aisle widths are currently not in the city code. Staff has analyzed the request using the standards in section 3177 for reviewing proposed amendments to the text of the land development regulation, and finds that this request does meet those standards. And I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Is there anyone from the public that wishes to make comment to this at this time? Okay, there doesn't seem to be anyone that wants to address it. Then I'm going to close the item for public comment. I'm going to ask the commissioners if anyone has any questions or comments. Vice Mayor Shelley.
Joanne, are there any other projects in the community that this would affect right now, besides the one in question?
None that are under review right now, no.
And the fire is okay with the trucks being able to make the curve around in this particular project?
The minimum drive aisle width for a fire rescue truck for two-way is 20 feet, so it meets their standard.
Okay. This is changing the ordinance that would create a situation where it would affect public roads, correct? Not only private, or is this only private?
These are drive aisles.
Drive outs only, okay. Thank you.
Yes, I'd like to.
Yes, Commissioner.
This had, we discussed at our workshop, didn't we, last month?
Yes.
That's what I thought. Okay, thank you.
Anyone else? Okay, then I'm going to ask the clerk for a roll call vote.
Commissioner Cohen?
Yep.
Commissioner Holtzberg?
Yes.
Commissioner Landman?
Yes.
Commissioner Narodsky?
Yes.
Commissioner Weinberg?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Shelley? Mayor Weissman?
Yes.
The motion passes.
Okay. I'm going to now ask for a motion to adjourn the local planning agency meeting.
Motion.
Motion made by Commissioner Weinberg. Can I have a second? Second by Commissioner Cohen. All those in favor? Any opposed?
Aye.
Okay. The land local agency planning meeting is officially over. I am now going to call the regularly scheduled City Commission meeting March 1st, 2016 to order, and I will ask the clerk once again for a roll call vote.
Mayor Weissman?
Here.
Vice Mayor Shelley?
Yes.
Commissioner Cohen?
Here.
Commissioner Holtzberg?
Here.
Commissioner Landman?
Here.
Commissioner Narodsky?
Here.
Commissioner Weinberg?
Here.
Mr. Soroka?
Here.
Mr. Wolfen?
Here.
You have a quorum.
Thank you so much. And since we had such a great Pledge of Allegiance in the prior meeting, we're going to dispense with the pledge at this time, and I'm going to request from the commission and the city manager if there are any deletions or additions to the agenda.
We have no changes.
No changes. All right. Just because we have so many people sitting out here today, I want you to know that the consent agenda is something that we go through on a workshop basis, and every item is discussed with us, and generally they're items that we don't need to bring to the floor during a meeting. So again, I'm going to ask if any commissioner would like to remove an item from the consent agenda. All right, then can I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Motion.
Made by Vice Mayor Shelley, seconded by Commissioner Holtzberg. I'll ask the clerk for a roll call vote.
Commissioner Cohen,
Yes.
Commissioner Holtzberg,
Yes.
Commissioner Landman,
Yes.
Commissioner Narotsky,
Yes.
Commissioner Weinberg,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Shelley, Mayor Weissman.
Yes.
The motion passes.
The next item on the agenda is zoning hearing, and we're going into a quasi-judicial public hearing. I am going to leave the room as I may have some conflicts of interest in this issue, and I'm going to turn the meeting over to Vice Mayor Shelley.
Would the
Thank
city
you,
attorney like to make a motion?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Vice Mayor. This is the quasi-judicial portion of the agenda, item 5. It consists of one item this meeting concerning the Aventura Hospital. For the quasi-judicial portion of the agenda, persons who desire to offer testimony will do so under oath. The staff report will be provided in a moment. The quasi-judicial statement is included as part of the record for this item. This is a public hearing resolution. After I read the title of the resolution, the city clerk will administer the oath to any persons who desire to offer testimony on this particular public hearing item. It's a resolution of the City Commission of the City of Aventura, Florida, granting approval of variance to Section 31-144 F4D of the City Code to allow open space of 21.8%, where a minimum 33% is required by code, and modification of the variance to Section 31-144 F4D of the City Code granted through Resolution Number 2002-07 to allow floor area ratio of 1.38, where a floor area ratio of 1.35 was granted through Resolution Number 2002-07, and maximum floor area ratio permitted by code is 1.28. For an expansion to the Aventura Hospital at 20900 Biscayne Boulevard, City of Aventura, and providing for an effective date. At this time, if the city clerk could administer the oath to all persons who desire to offer testimony on this item.
If you will be providing testimony and speaking on this item, I need you to stand, raise your right hand, and be sworn in at this time. Anybody who will be speaking on this item. Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you.
Do I have a motion to approve on the first reading?
Motion.
Motion is made by Commissioner Cohen. Second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Narotsky. Ms. Kamakar, would you please give the report for the staff?
Thank you, Mr. Vice Mayor. I've been sworn in. I would like to enter the staff report into the record. The applicant, Gresham Smith and Partners, on behalf of Aventura Hospital and Medical Center, is requesting variance from Section 31-144 F4D of the City Code to allow open space of 21.8%, where a minimum 33% open space is required by code, and is also requesting modification to the variance to Section 31-144 F4D granted on February 5th, 2002 through Resolution Number 2002-07 to allow a floor area ratio of 1.38 where a maximum floor area ratio of 1.35 was permitted through Resolution Number 2002-07. It's recommended that the City Commission approve the variance for reduced open space and approve the modification to the variance for increased floor area ratio. The applicant, Aventura Hospital Medical Center, has applied for administrative site plan approval for construction of a one-story, 15,190 square foot expansion of the emergency room on the east portion of the hospital campus. The expansion will house 22 exam rooms, a conference room, staff lounge, multipurpose room, service and support rooms. The site plan application also includes construction of a new surface parking area on the north side of Northeast 211th Street, which includes 120 parking spaces. As part of the site plan review, road improvements including curbing, sidewalk, and drainage were requested on the north side of 211th Street, East Dixie Highway, near the new surface parking area. And the applicant has asked that these improvements be completed as part of the next hospital expansion phase, and this has been included in as a condition of approval of these variance requests. Okay, we'll put up the location plan so everyone can see where we're talking about. The location is the Aventura Hospital on Biscayne Boulevard at 20900 Biscayne Boulevard. And this is the site plan. The emergency room expansion is going to go to the north of the existing hospital towers on the east portion of the campus. The new surface parking area is going to go next to the central energy plant on the north side of Northeast 211th Street. The proposed expansion of the emergency room does not reduce existing open space percentage, as the expansion is being constructed in an area currently used for surface parking. This variance is requested to recognize and allow an existing condition. It has been analyzed using the standards for approval of variances in Section 3176E of the City Code and has been found to meet those standards. The proposed modification of the 2002 variance for floor area ratio is to increase allowable floor area ratio from 1.35 that was approved in 2002 to 1.38, taking into account the new 15,000 square foot expansion. If we take the entire hospital campus as a whole, this 15,000 square foot addition would meet the floor area ratio criteria of the zoning district. However, the campus is divided by a public street, therefore they cannot be evaluated as a whole. So using the 11.25 acres for the east part of the campus, that creates the variance request for the floor area ratio. The request has been analyzed, again, using the standards for approval of variances in Section 3176E of the City Code, and also found to meet the standards. It is recommended that the variance request be approved subject to the following conditions: that the plans submitted for permitting substantially comply with those submitted with the application, that a building permit be obtained within 12 months of the date of this approval, unless extended by a motion of the City Commission. The City Commission may grant up to a 6-month extension for good cause by the applicant, and that the owner agrees to design and construct road improvements on Northeast 211th Street and East Dixie Highway, consisting of sidewalk and curb and necessary drainage improvements as approved by the City as part of any future hospital expansion or improvement project that first occurs after this emergency room and surface parking lot expansion. However, if such hospital expansion or improvements are not initiated prior to March 1st, 2017, 1 year from now, the owner shall complete the design and construction no later than March 1st, 2018. The owner may request an extension of time to complete the design and construction of the road improvements, and the city manager may grant up to a 6-month extension for good cause shown by the applicant. And those are the conditions recommended for approval. I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Okay. Does the applicant have any comments they'd like to make or would like to speak? Thank you, Joanne.
My name is Mike Hunkler, civil engineer with Gresham Smith and Partners, here representing Aventura Hospital and Medical Center, and we agree with all the staff's recommendations. I'm just here to, if you have any more questions, but appreciate your vote of approval.
Okay. We'll now open it up to the public. Does anyone in the public have any comments? Would they like to speak on this motion? Okay, if not, we'll close the public hearing and bring it to the commission. Do any commissioners have any comments?
I have a question.
I have one. I'm very pleased to approve this because we really need it. I've been there a couple of times, and I'm very, very happy that you're doing this. 100% you have my vote.
Commissioner Narodsky?
Just to be clear, you're not losing any parking spaces overall, right?
No parking spaces are being lost with this expansion.
Just to follow up, so it's the same exact parking, just in a different location in terms of the actual spaces?
They will have more space. They have actually 525 more parking spaces than required by code after this development.
Thank you.
John, can you repeat the stipulation for the drainage improvements?
Mhm.
Please.
I'll put the picture back up so I can show you where they're planned. We had requested sidewalk here on Northeast 211th and East Dixie Highway because this lot is being improved by surface parking. They've asked that that be delayed until their next expansion project. So the condition of approval is that the sidewalk, curb and sidewalk on the north side of the road in East Dixie Highway will be completed as part of the next expansion project. But if that project is not initiated in 1 year, by March 1st, 2017, they will go ahead and get it finished up by March 1st of 2018.
I think what I was asking is, I think I heard you say, and correct me if I'm wrong, there's going to be some drainage improvements if they apply for an additional variance?
The drainage improvements will be necessary. Once they put a curb on that road, they'll have to fix the drainage.
But only in that property, not around?
Only on this street, because the curb will change the drainage pattern.
If I could speak to the applicant one moment, I have a couple of questions for him, please. Thank you. In terms of doing the construction, when you do commence construction on that, obviously that's a very congested area coming in off of Biscayne because people use that parking area now to get through to the back of the building or even to the emergency room entrance. During construction, will there be access to get to the building and the parking back there as well? Or are you going to close that whole area off at this time?
I believe they're going to have to close off for a certain length of time, probably not the entire construction period. But we don't really know what the contractor's phasing is, but understands he's working at an active hospital and needs to keep that operating.
So how will people, so they'll have to go to the south side of the hospital, go around that street and come back in the back end, is that it?
That's a possibility, yes, sir.
Okay, because there won't be that road. The other thing is, what I'm hearing is that the sidewalk won't be put in on this phase going into that parking area. So when people are going to park and they want to walk back to the emergency room, how do they get back?
There is a parking lot, there is a sidewalk.
There is, okay, so.
Just the curb and the drainage is not in this, but the
Okay.
sidewalk is.
Oh, I thought I heard that the sidewalk wasn't being put in this phase, I'm sorry.
Commissioner, there is a sidewalk across the central energy plant.
Okay.
It connects with the sidewalk here. The entrance to the parking lot is right here, so they will have a sidewalk to walk in
Okay,
on this side of the road to get in there, and there's also a sidewalk on this side of the road.
okay, thank you. In terms of construction time, how long do you think it will take to build?
May turn to Adam D. Okay, 15 months approximately.
Okay, so that lane will be closed, that access will be closed off, and access will be coming in through the emergency room in the west?
I'm not sure if it'll be closed the entire time of the 15 months, but certainly when you're adding on, there's times with equipment you have to get to it. I think we could count on that would be the worst case.
Okay. So during that time, that's obviously the main road to the entrance to the hospital. There's going to be some kind of road still open during there.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay. Are there any other questions
Yes.
from any commissioners?
Yes, right here.
I'm sorry, Denise.
Just to follow up, and this is for Joanne, to follow up with Commissioner Narodsky's comments about the parking. We're not losing parking, and also, if you can go back to that exhibit, they're going to be asking, the hospital's going to be asking their employees to park in that lot, correct? So as to free up some of the parking in the garage that's right across from the emergency room?
That's correct. That's what they told us.
Thank you.
Are there any other questions from the commission? If not, can we have a roll call, please?
Commissioner Cohen?
Yes.
Commissioner Holtzberg?
Yes.
Commissioner Landman?
Yes.
Commissioner Narodsky?
Yes.
Commissioner Weinberg?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Shelley?
Yes.
Mayor Weissman is absent. The motion passes.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Joanne.
We now have a very special presentation, and we're going to preface it with a video that's going to be played. So can I please ask you to play it?
Hi, I'm the architect for the building. I'll give you this. One of the residents had given it to me, but they moved. It's probably not good anymore.
See your ID, sir?
What kind of ID?
Picture ID.
Success in architecture is the acceptance of the client, of the people that finance the project, and the selling of the project. When a project sells out, you know you're a success.
With his inexhaustible source of creativity, he has managed to cover numerous genres as an artist, on a par with his uninterrupted career as an architect. This is Robert Swedrow.
He's an architect and he's an artist, and, you know, I'm a fan of both.
Bob stayed with the times, so that's one thing that's unique, because a lot of guys, have their day and then that's it. But Bob has evolved over time.
And not only did he grow with the city, but he managed to stay ahead of the curve.
With an architectural career that few could match, he has produced 3,250 projects around the world, hundreds of which have changed the skyline of the city of Miami.
Well, I promised myself I'm going to keep doing it till I get it right.
Currently, he is designing a $300 million project for one of his earliest clients.
Are we at liberty to tell the name of the project?
It's Turnberry Ocean Club.
Okay, it's Turnberry Ocean Club. This is a major team effort.
There's a strong level of confidence between each other.
And it's a very competitive world. We have to stay ahead and to stay on top, you have to be innovative and creative.
I think that works.
Okay. All right, make sure you get the right label. This is really North Dade and the city of Aventura primarily. I was here pretty much from the beginning when this was a total mangrove forest and 650 acres. And within this envelope of area, we've done 120 buildings. When we go over this little bridge, we're on Turnberry Isle, which was the project from all over the world. So first building built was Turnberry North Tower. That second is Turnberry South Tower. The third one is Turnberry Towers, rather, and the white one is Marina Tower. This quadrant in here is called the Waterways, and there are 10 high-rises in here, of which we've done all 10.
Another 5 buildings and 66 townhouses with interconnected social areas were added to that first group of buildings.
Simultaneously with this, we developed these 2 towers. So this is a very successful project that took 15 years. It's the largest and longest project of my career.
Robert Swedrow's projects have shaped the city with innovative elements of a large magnitude on a global level. The incorporation of private elevators in modern-day high-rises is one of his many contributions to modern architecture.
In today's day, what we brought to the forefront was the private elevator concept for everybody.
The private elevator gives you exclusivity and privacy. It also adds 10 to 15% of additional saleable area for the developer within the same envelope.
The doors open and you walk into your apartment.
This was the first building where that was done in this country.
That certainly was a big innovation because it's just the standard way of doing things today.
Intricate narratives, cybernetic lines, heavenly spaces, container structures, a world of reflections and colors, kept constantly in motion by the vision and the hands of Robert Swedrow. His secret, an intensity which surpasses any limitation or difficulty.
You're as good as your last act. That is very true in architecture. One success will bring you the opportunity for other successes. Can't wait for the next big event.
You know, that film was really a wonderful introduction to what I'm about to do, and it certainly reminds us that everywhere we look in the City of Excellence, we see work designed by Robert Swedrow, and I'm going to ask you please to come down, and I'm going to ask the commissioners to please join me. I was just telling him that I live in one of his buildings, and probably most of us sitting here live in one of his buildings. And if not, we pass one of his buildings on the way to where we live. You know, our city just celebrated its 20th anniversary. The city of Aventura has awarded its highest honor, the key to the city, very, very infrequently. This evening, I'm proud to present the key to a most deserving recipient. Architect Robert Swedrow. It is certainly appropriate to refer to Robert as Aventura's architect. Over the course of more than 40 years, beginning when Aventura was an unincorporated development spearheaded by visionary developer Donald Sofer, Mr. Swedrow has designed over 120 buildings currently standing within the City of Excellence, including, as I said before, the one that I live in, the one that Terry lives in, the one that Denise lives in, and we can keep on going. Mr. Swedrow created his designs from a trailer, as virtually every building along the entire Country Club Drive circle sprang to life. He went on to design the iconic Turnberry Isles, as well as Koskan's project, including Waterways, One Island Place, and The Point. There was also, of course, virtually every building on Williams Island for Jules, Eddie, and Stephanie Trump, as well as WCI's Bella Mare, among others. As landmarks of our internationally renowned city, the Swerdrow design buildings comprise the lion's share of the $10 billion county property appraiser's valuation. Mr. Swerdrow's designs continue to contribute to Aventura's healthy real estate market and tax basis. Robert Swerdrow is also a recognized artist whose dynamic work has been exhibited at Art Basel multiple times. His granddaughter follows in his footsteps. Locally, some of his representations hang at the Aventura Turnberry Jewish Center, yet another building he was involved in designing. In addition, Bob has been working with former Aventura Commissioner Bob Diamond to provide historic drawings, artifacts, and contacts for an Aventura History Museum. Given the fact that each day, the vast majority of our residents use a key to enter their Robert Swerdrow designed homes, it is indeed quite appropriate to recognize his accomplishments with the key to the city, and it's my pleasure to present it.
The piano man coming.
Yes. If a man is measured by the company he keeps, you're in good company. Nothing comes without a price.
Didn't come to prepared to speak a few words, but actually I was here before Don Sofer. They've been our client for 42 years, and I was here with a trailer from the Lapidus office where I started, and I had my own staff up here in the very early days. And I don't know if you all remember that far back, but the original Aventura was called Biscayne Village, and then it was called Xanadu, and then it became Aventura. We're working on a little mini Aventura right now called Solomar down the street, and that's going to be another 12 towers and another 15 years of development. I plan on continuing. I'm signing a new 5-year lease in a new office space. So I've got to keep it going. I'm going to keep doing it till I get it right. I'm sure a lot of you that live in the buildings we've done apologize for not developing the direct entry private elevator earlier on, but there are a few here in Aventura, Williams Island, Bellamari. A couple of the Point buildings have direct entry, Atlantic 1 and Atlantic 3, and every building we do from here on eliminates corridors and buildings, and we make spaces. We design spaces if we're going to live in them, and I think those of you that live in our buildings, I hope will agree. I thank you all very much for this award. I'll treasure it, and continue. Just follow the future work. There's great things coming.
Thank you.
I tell them I love my building.
Madam Mayor, I just wanted to recognize that what we saw was remarkable, but clearly Bob's greatest accomplishments are in this room and haven't been mentioned. His children are here, his grandchildren are here, which I had something to do with, and Both of his great-grandchildren are here also. So that's really the greatest accomplishment of all.
Give him a few minutes.
Howard, can I say that there's a reception? Do you want to? Please.
For anyone who doesn't know, there's a reception straight out the doors in the second floor. What do we call that?
Used to be the library.
The atrium and former temporary home of the Miami-Dade County Library. There's food and drink for everyone to enjoy. Please try to keep it to a dull roar.
And we will join you as soon as our commission meeting is over.
He's 81. Terrific, I guess.
Yeah, wonderful. That's great.
What are we up to now? Okay, the hospital is finished. Okay, next.
Next.
The uniforms?
No, we're done. That was on consent. All right. If I can get order here, we'll continue. We're on a first public reading, and I'm going to ask the city attorney to read the first ordinance to be considered for first reading.
Thank you, Mayor. Item 7A, an ordinance of the City of Aventura, Florida, amending Article 8, Section 31-171, off-street parking, loading, and driveway standards of Chapter 31, Land Development Regulations of the City Code by amending Section 31-171A6D to add minimum widths for one-way and two-way drive aisles, providing for severability, providing for inclusion in the code, and providing for an effective date. The local planning agency from earlier this evening report and materials are incorporated into the record.
Okay, thank you. Can I have a motion for approval of the ordinance on first reading?
Motion.
Made by Commissioner Holzberg,
Second.
seconded by Commissioner Landman. I'm going to open the item for public comment. Anybody from the public wish to come up? Concerns, questions? I'm also going to ask the people in the back of the room to please let us continue so we can join you. Okay, there do not seem to be any concerns from the public, so I'm going to close the item for public comment. Does anyone on the commission have any questions or concerns? Seeing as there are none, I will ask the clerk for a roll call vote.
Commissioner Cohen?
Yes.
Commissioner Holtzberg?
Yes.
Commissioner Landman?
Yes.
Commissioner Narodsky?
Yes.
Commissioner Weinberg?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Shelley? Mayor Weissman?
Yes.
The motion passes on first reading.
Thank you. I'm going to now ask the city attorney to read the next ordinance to be considered for first reading.
Thank you, Mayor. Item 7B, an ordinance of the City of Aventura, Florida, amending Chapter 14, Buildings and Building Regulations, Article 6, Green Building Program, to add clarification to Section 14-115, Incentives and Bonuses, Agreement and Bond Requirements, providing for severability, providing for inclusion in the code, and providing for an effective date.
Can I have a motion for approval of the ordinance on first reading?
Motion.
Vice Mayor Shelley. Second? Seconded by Commissioner Narodsky. I'm now going to ask Joanne Carr to please present the staff report.
Thank you, Mayor. It is recommended that the City Commission approve first reading of an ordinance to amend Chapter 14, Article 6, Green Building Program, Section 14-115 of the City Code to clarify calculation of the bonuses and incentives contained in that section. The Green Building Program was adopted on October 6, 2009 through Ordinance Number 2009-18. The goal of the program is to encourage green building construction in the city. It does include a lot coverage and floor area ratio bonus for buildings that attain LEED Gold or Platinum certification. These bonuses are subject to approval by the City Commission at public hearing using the conditional use approval standards in Section 3173 of the City Code. The program does not specifically address a situation where a LEED Gold or Platinum certified building is proposed on the same site that had an existing building as of the date of adoption of the program, and that existing building is not certified at one of those green building levels. Based on the current language of the code, only the portion of the property on which the green building is constructed would be used for calculation of the lot coverage and floor area ratio bonus. This may be a disincentive to attain the higher green building certification. And in order to preclude the construction of a LEED Gold or Platinum certified building that is smaller than the existing building, it's recommended that the bonuses be calculated on the total lot area only when the LEED Gold or Platinum certified building is the same size or larger than the existing building. And it's also recommended that this amendment apply only to existing office buildings. The proposed amendment will read, for projects located on the same site as an existing office building or buildings, which office building or buildings was or were constructed before October 6, 2009, that's the date of adoption of the Green Building Program, as evidence, and their construction will be evidenced by a temporary certificate of occupancy or certificate of occupancy, and do not meet LEED Gold or Platinum certification. The bonuses in 1 and 2 above, and those are the lot coverage and floor area ratio bonuses already in the code, will be calculated based on the applicant's total site area, provided that the new construction that attains LEED Gold or Platinum certification is the same size or larger than the total square footage of the existing office building or buildings. And that's the proposed amendment to the code. The bonuses will continue to be subject to the conditions in the Green Building Program, and that's that they register the program with LEED, with the U.S. Green Building Council, and they provide their checklist to show us what point level they're going to be attaining, and that they provide a performance bond to meet that certification. So those will continue to be conditions to even apply for the bonuses, and then the bonuses themselves will be subject to approval by the City Commission at public hearing using the conditional use approval process. I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Is there anyone from the public that wishes to address this item? Okay, seeing as there are none, I'll close the item for public comment, and I'll ask members of the commission if they wish to have any questions or comments to address this item. Vice Mayor Shelley.
Yeah, Joanne, what are the benefits of this to the developer? What are the perks, so to speak, that are given when they do comply with the green in this case?
The lot coverage, they get a lot coverage. Right, usually, most zoning districts say that your lot coverage is 40%. What the Green Building Program says is that you can get a lot coverage bonus equal, and it doesn't specify the percent, a maximum percentage. Just it's in an amount equal to the area that you provide in either a green rooftop amenities, and Florida-friendly plantings on site. So if you have, if you want a lot coverage bonus of 60%, you're going to have at least 20% of the lot area as a green rooftop amenities, and Florida-friendly plantings.
So they make it up on the building itself.
That's
I
right.
see. So they create.
As to the floor area bonus, you can go up to a maximum of 2.0. So you can get the amount of square footage you can get on your building is 2 times your lot size.
So when a developer comes to us, let's say on a future issue, obviously it's got to be if they have an existing building on the site, the requirement would first be that you'd have to see that they made application for this green building program to begin with, and then the plans would have to comply with those requirements at that time?
That's correct.
In order to benefit. So no, it's not, you're going to see the application such before you review the permit, is that it? So in other words, if I was developing and I wanted to bring it to you to get these benefits, I would get the bonuses only if I already had submitted for this program.
Only if you had already registered the project with U.S.
Okay.
Green Building Council.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments from the commission? Okay, then I'm going to ask the clerk for a roll call vote.
Commissioner Cohen?
Yes.
Commissioner Holtzberg?
Yes.
Commissioner Landman?
Yes.
Commissioner Narodsky?
Yes.
Commissioner Weinberg?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Shelley?
Yes.
Mayor Weissman?
Yes.
The motion passes on first reading.
Thank you. Next, I'm going to ask the city attorney to read the next ordinance to be considered for first reading.
Thank you, Mayor. An ordinance of the City Commission of the City of Aventura, Florida, amending ordinance number 2015-09, which ordinance adopted a budget for the 2015-2016 fiscal year by revising the 2015-2016 fiscal year operating and capital budget as outlined in Exhibit A attached here too, authorizing the city manager to do all things necessary to carry out the aims of this ordinance and providing for an effective date.
Can I please have a motion to approve the ordinance on first reading?
I'll motion.
Commissioner Narodsky made the motion. May I have a second?
Second.
I'm sorry, I didn't.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Cohen. I'm going to ask the city manager to please review this item.
This is our mid-year budget amendment, and basically it serves as two purposes. It recognizes the actual fund balances that were completed as part of the audit that you approved on the consent agenda this evening, and it also takes various capital projects that were not completed in the prior fiscal year and reappropriates those funds to make sure they're done in this fiscal year. So that's basically what occurs in this mid-year budget amendment.
I'm going to ask if the public has any questions or concerns on this item. If there are none, then I'm going to close the item for public comment, and I'm going to ask if any member of the commission has questions or comments.
I have.
Vice Mayor Shelley.
Yeah, please. Mr. City Manager, I just have a quick question. If you don't complete the project in one fiscal year and you move it to this year, then the funds are moved into this year's budget? Is that how it works?
Correct, and that's what we're doing, a series of projects.
So you're just moving from last year's to this year's to cover it? Okay, thank you.
Anyone else? Okay, then I'm going to ask the city clerk for a roll call vote.
Commissioner Cohen?
Yes.
Commissioner Holtzberg?
Yes.
Commissioner Landman?
Yes.
Commissioner Narodsky?
Yes.
Commissioner Weinberg?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Shelley? Mayor Weissman?
Yes.
The motion passes on first reading.
Thank you. We're now at second reading for a number of ordinances, and I'm going to ask the city attorney to read the first ordinance to be considered for second reading.
Thank you, Mayor. Item 8A, an ordinance of the City of Aventura, Florida, amending Division 6, Arts and Public Places Advisory Board of Article 3, Advisory Boards of Chapter 2, Administration of the City Code of the City of Aventura, Florida, revising composition and duties of the board, providing for severability, providing for inclusion in code, and providing for an effective date.
Can I please ask for a motion for approval of the ordinance on first reading?
Motion.
Commissioner Landman, can I have a second? Vice Mayor Shelley. I'm going to open the item for public comment. Is there anyone from the public who wishes to address this item? Seeing as there are none, I'm going to close it to public comment, and I'm going to ask if there are any commissioners that have any comments or questions about this item. Seeing as there are none, I will ask the clerk for a roll call vote.
Commissioner Cohen?
Yes.
Commissioner Holtzberg?
Yes.
Commissioner Landman?
Yes.
Commissioner Narodsky?
Yes.
Commissioner Weinberg?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Shelley? Mayor Weissman?
Yes.
The motion passes on second and final reading.
Thank you. I'm going to again ask the city attorney to read the next ordinance to be considered for second reading.
Thank you, Mayor. Item 8B, an ordinance of the City of Aventura, Florida, amending the city code by amending Chapter 30, Environment, by amending Article 6, Property Maintenance, at Section 3191, Property Maintenance, by revising Paragraph B6 thereof to require enhanced drainage at parking lots on commercial properties and on paved areas of such commercial properties, providing for severability, providing for inclusion in the code, providing for penalty, and providing for an effective date.
Thank you. Can I have a motion for approval of the ordinance on second reading?
Motion.
Motion made by Commissioner Holtzberg, second by Commissioner Cohen. I'm opening the item for public comment. Is there anyone from the public that would like to address this or has any questions? Seeing as there none, I'm going to close the item for public comment, and I'm going to ask if there's any member of the commission that has a question or comment.
Quick question.
Vice Mayor Shelley.
I'm sorry. Mr. City Manager, could you just explain, I realize this is second reading, I just want to know a little bit more about how we enforce the enhancement of the drainage?
So basically, the standard is you can't accumulate stagnant water in excess of 2 inches in depth for a period of time exceeding 12 hours. So our code enforcement officers, after there's been a rain event, will go out to the various shopping centers, and they will take the measurements, and if they're in violation, they'll receive a code violation, and then they'll have to correct the drainage and have to improve drainage. So that's how we'll enforce it through code enforcement.
So this is also on existing as well?
Correct.
I see.
Yes.
Commissioner Weinberg.
Personally, this is something that I would like to see strictly enforced as we move forward, because I think we all know that it's a real issue. People complain about it all the time, and it's private property, but now we have a bigger stick, and we should use it until we have a better situation.
I would also like to take a moment to thank my fellow commissioners for all the work that we did on this item, and thank the city manager and staff for bringing forward this item. And again, it is on second reading. Anyone else? Okay. I think it's time then for a roll call vote.
Commissioner Cohen?
Yes.
Commissioner Holtzberg?
Yes.
Commissioner Landman?
Yes.
Commissioner Narodsky?
Yes.
Commissioner Weinberg?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Shelley?
Yes.
Mayor Weissman?
Yes.
The motion passes on second and final reading.
Thank you. Next on our agenda are resolutions at the public hearing, and I have none. Reports. Does any member of the commission have any reports? Commissioner Landman?
Yes. We have movie night coming up this Saturday, March 5th at Founders Park at 6 p.m., The Good Dinosaur. And then we also have our upcoming Arts, Crafts, and All That Jazz Festival, which we're bringing back to the city. We hope to see everyone out there. Music, food trucks, art, just a great event for people of all ages. And that's the following Saturday, March 12th.
Commissioner Weinberg.
Thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to report that with the latitude that the commission has given me in the past, I have been monitoring what's been going on in Tallahassee with regard to condominium-specific legislation. And from time to time, there will be an attempt to slip something into a bill that's not good for people who live in Aventura. I have caught them, at least I think each time. Then through the manager, we reach out to our lobbyist. And as you know, we had great success last year. We're having similar success this year. Bad things could happen, but they're not.
Well, the session should be over shortly this year. I also want to remind everybody about March 12th and tell you that the concert will feature Nestor Torres. And I do want to remind everyone that early voting has started in the city of Aventura. And it is not at City Hall like it has been in the past, but it is at the public library. And I encourage everyone to take democracy very seriously, and please, please vote. Anyone else? Okay. Next on the agenda is any public comments, any members of the community that would like to come up and say. Mark, please.
Thank you, Madam Mayor and commissioners of this great city of excellence, which it is. I must say, having been a commissioner once before in my life, about a decade ago, you guys run your meetings quite efficiently, so I compliment you on that. My name is Mark Bloomstein, and for the good and welfare of this city and all of Miami-Dade County, I am a candidate for a circuit court judge with the election taking place this August 30th of 2016. I am a native of Miami, a product of Miami-Dade County Public Schools, a graduate of the University of Florida, a graduate of Nova Law, and have practiced in this great state for 20 years now, believe it or not, and have also served in our U.S. Armed Forces as a Navy Judge Advocate General, also an attorney, for 20 years. Just back from a military deployment overseas, and during which time I served in a mission in Djibouti, Africa, and upon reflection during that time, I decided upon my return I was going to seek election for judge. I know you all understand that the county-wide race is not an easy one, but I am running for an open seat after a sitting judge has vacated her seat. So I hope that I can count on the people of this great city as well as the people of this great county to vote for me at the time of election in August. And I thank you very much for your time and consideration.
Thank you very much, Mark. Is there anyone else that would like to address the commission?
Mayor, before
Commissioner Weinberg.
Mark sits down, can you just tell everyone how long your deployment on the other side of the world was that you just returned from?
Sure. I was actually in theater for about 6 months, plus another month of training in advance. But I was proud to do it, happy to serve, and but of course glad to be back to my home and my family. Thank you.
7 months on the other side of the world with school-age children. I commend you and thank you for your service. I happen to know Mark. We served together on the commission in Surfside, and I concur. This is a much better run city. But
Thank you.
He has an open seat, so there's, I think, 4 candidates currently to answer the commissioner's question.
Sorry, I didn't hear. Yes.
Okay, thank you so much. Anyone else? Then I'm going to ask for a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Second?
Second.
Made and seconded. Anyone opposed? And we can join the celebration across in the atrium. Thank you all.